Hey, what's up? Adam Lobo here from Adam Lobo TV. So Apple just finished their 18th of October event several hours ago. Of course, in Malaysia is 19th of October. So here's everything that you need to know, including the price of their new hardware here in Malaysia, in case you have missed it. And oh my, what a surprise. Now, the first hardware announcement was the new third generation AirPods. Firstly, it had an overall design refresh which looks very similar to the AirPods Pro but without the silicone tips. Where this overall AirPods Pro looking design is something that I've always preferred compared to the previous second generation AirPods, where the stems are shorter and contoured to a perfect angle to fit in the ears, and it has the same force sensor, or shall I say the pinch gestures, on the stem of the AirPods for media controls. It is now IPX4 sweat and water resistant, both for the earbuds and also the charging case as well. And what's extra sweet is that there is Dolby Atmos spatial audio and dynamic head tracking. You know, that feature where you move your head towards the phone or your tablet and the audio follows right to your head. So that is now available in the third generation AirPods, joining the AirPods Pro and the AirPods Max. Then adaptive EQ is also present, where you'll be listening to music the way it is meant for you to be heard, which, in case you did not know, is like filmmaker mode for your TV but from an audio perspective, which as a musician I really loved and appreciated that on the AirPods Pro. Now, in terms of sound improvements, there is the custom driver and a high dynamic range amplifier which will produce powerful bass and crisp and clean high frequencies. Then the microphones have also improved, as it is covered by an acoustic mesh to help reduce the sound of wind in order for your voice to be heard very clearly. Then in terms of the battery life, it offers an extra hour of battery life over the previous generation, with up to 6 hours of listening time and up to 4 hours of talk time. And with just 5 minutes of charge, it will be able to give you up to an hour of battery life as well. And with 4 hours of additional charges on the case itself, which gives you up to a massive 30 hours of total listening time. And finally, what's super cool is that this third generation is now part of the MagSafe ecosystem for easy wireless charging on the case. So overall, since I never gotten my hands on the second generation AirPods, I'm eager to take this new third generation for an audio test, especially with my regular Sawan mode test, and try out all the other consistent audio features like audio sharing and other convenient features like being part of the Find My network and having Siri to read notifications as well, which does work extremely well on the AirPods Pro and the AirPods Max. Then in terms of the price here in Malaysia, this third generation AirPods will be available for 829 ringgit. Next, Apple has decided to update their new Apple Silicon chip by not introducing just one but two new chipsets. Firstly is the M1 Pro. Now, it's using the industry-leading 5nm process, where the M1 Pro has more than 2 times the number of transistors than the M1, which is a total of 33.7 billion. Then there's a new 10-core GPU, including 8 high-performance cores and 2 high-efficiency cores, which is up to 70% faster than the M1 chipset. Now, compared to the latest 8-core PC laptop chipset, this M1 Pro delivers up to 1.7 times more CPU performance at the same level and achieves the PC chip's peak performance using only 70% less power. Then in terms of the GPU, the M1 Pro has up to 16-core GPU, and that is up to 2 times faster than the M1 and up to 7 times faster than the typical integrated graphics on the latest 8-core PC laptop chip. Lazy fellas. And this M1 Pro can be configured up to 32GB of fast unified memory with up to 200 GB per second of memory bandwidth, making heavy software tasks like 3D rendering and development of games super seamless. Then just when you think that Apple has stopped over there, they said, nah, let's go even more powerful with the M1 Max chipset. So this M1 Max has the same powerful 10-core GPU as the M1 Pro, but this time it bumps up from 16 cores to 32 cores of GPU, which gives up to 4 times faster graphic performance than the already powerful M1. Then the transistors has also yet again increased from 33.7 billion to 57 billion. Yep, it's all about the transistors, my friend. Which makes this 3.5 times faster than the M1 chipset, and the GPU delivers performance very comparable to a high-end GPU in a compact Pro PC laptop, but consuming up to 40% less power, which also means that it is less heat generated and the fans run quietly and less often. And the M1 Max transforms graphic-intensive workflows, including up to 13 times faster in complex timeline rendering in Final Cut Pro compared to the previous generation 13-inch MacBook Pro. Which of course, personally for me, I would feel it is very beneficial for my overall workflow. And it also doubles the memory interface compared to the M1 Pro, up to 400 GB per second, or nearly 6 times the memory bandwidth of the M1 chipset. And with that, this M1 Max can be configured up to 64 GB of fast unified memory. Now speaking of my workflow once again, if you shoot in ProRes like me, there's the ProRes Media Engine, which is a dedicated acceleration for the ProRes video codec, allowing playback to a multiple streams of high quality 4K and 8K ProRes video while using very little power, where this M1 Max can go even further, giving you up to 2 times faster video encoding than the M1 Pro, and features 2 freaking ProRes accelerators. So with the M1 Max, the new MacBook Pro can transcode ProRes video in compressor up to a crazy 10 times faster compared to the previous generation 16-inch MacBook Pro. So even at this point of time, the M1 is already putting all the other processors to bed with their performance and power efficiency, and now with this M1 Pro and the M1 Max, and something very important that Apple mentioned is also the non-hardware or the software updates for apps like Logic Pro 10.7 that allows you to create songs as Dolby Atmos music files, and there's also 13 plugin updates with producer packs as well, which is similar to what have been announced on GarageBand recently. Now personally for me, I'm not a user of Logic Pro as I'm more of an Ableton user, but I know a lot of my musician friends who uses Logic Pro, so this is indeed good news for them or for you if you're using Logic as your audio DAW system. Then the other update comes from the best video editing software on planet Earth, Final Cut Pro. Fight me at the comment section below if you disagree with me on that. That has been updated to version 10.6. Now with this new update, it allows creation of tracked motion graphics, which I've always been using third-party ones in my videos, so I'm very eager to quickly update my Final Cut Pro and check this out ASAP. And this new update also allows editing on the cinematic mode video recorded on the iPhone 13 series, which was super great to know to adjust the depth of field, the keyframe changes, which is usually only able to be done on your phone. And because of this new M1 Pro and the M1 Max chipset, it's able to play up to a crazy 7 streams of 8K ProRes files at full resolution and export videos up to 5 times faster compared to what has been previously done on the Apple Motion and Compressor app, which all has been updated as well. Then finally, Apple has announced 2 new MacBook Pros, the 14 inches and the 16-inch variant. Now both has a new aluminum enclosure that optimizes internal space for more performance and features 50% more air than the previous generation, even at a lower fan speeds, where now the fans almost never turn on for most daily activities. Then the new MacBook Pro also comes with a new Magic Keyboard that features a full height function row with physical function keys, including a wider escape key that replaces the touch bar, bringing back the familiar tactile feel of mechanical keys. So yes, no more touch bar on the top of the keyboard area. Now another massive, really massive change is the overall I/O on this new MacBook Pros, as there is a full-size HDMI port, hallelujah, a Thunderbolt 4 port, which was nice, an SD card slot, so hallelujah once again, and the return of the legend, the MagSafe version 3 port. Oh yes! Oh yes! And there's also another 2 Thunderbolt 4 port as well, and because of the newly introduced chipset, which is super amazingly powerful, it supports up to 2 external display, up to 6K resolution at 60Hz on the M1 Pro chipset, and up to 3 external displays with up to 6K resolution, with up to 4K resolution at 60Hz on the M1 Max chipset. Then the display also has a huge upgrade, where other than the fact that it has a 24% thinner sides and about 60% thinner on the top, for the first time ever, it has ProMotion technology for the adaptive refresh rate up to 120Hz, which uses Apple's Liquid Retina XDR display. Now this is using the mini LED display technology similar to the likes of the iPad Pro of 1000 nits of sustained brightness and up to a massive 1600 nits of peak brightness. Then there's also a new camera system, 1080p finally, with a larger sensor for 2 times better low light performance as well. Then when it comes to audio, there is a 3 studio quality microphone arrays up to 60% lower noise floor and 6 speakers sound system that has 2 tweeters and 4 woofers, giving you 80% more bass that supports spatial audio and Dolby Atmos as well. Then when it comes to the battery life, the 14-inch model gives you about 17 hours of video playback, which is 7 additional hours, while the 16-inch model gives you up to a remarkable 21 hours of video playback, which is an additional 10 hours, which is the longest battery life ever on any MacBook Pro. And also this new MagSafe 3, for the first time ever, has fast charging up to 50% in just 30 minutes. Now in terms of the performance, it is how, as I've mentioned, between both of the chipsets. Like the previous MacBook Pros, you can always configure it accordingly, where I'll leave a link of Apple's MacBook Pro's purchase website to see the differences in prices and the upgrades, where the 14-inch variant starts at 8,799 ringgit or 8,199 ringgit on the education price here in Malaysia, and the 16-inch model starts at 10,799 ringgit or 9,999 ringgit for the education price right here as well. So it looks like it might be the right time for me to upgrade my 2017 MacBook Pro then. Alright then, do let me know which one of these 2 announcements that you found most appealing and exciting the most. The AirPods or the MacBook Pro? Do let me know at the comment section below. And if I do get my hands on both, ask me away what exactly that you would like to know about these 2 products, and of course I'll answer them in my full video review. Aside from that, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. My name is Adam Lobo, and I'll see you in my next video. 5 AM. Living in the world of tech, yo. Got to be fast.